I have been listening incessantly to Charli XCX's new record, and seemingly so is the rest of the world. I can't open Instagram, TikTok, or anything without a barrage of lime green assaulting my eyes. Even Kamala Harris has gone with Brat branding for part of her election campaign, because nothing says Brat Summer like Washington suits. Even Pitchfork has declared Brat Summer officially dead, which is a bit pot kettle black, but that's a different point. As with all kinds of cultural trends and musical moments, people are talking about what to be Brat is, what kinds of strappy top or greasy hair to have, what green accessories to clad oneself in, or basically anything with the exception of the actual music. And that's fine, because, that's part of the fun, is being part of something less definable. But because I'm me, I just want to talk about the music. So in this video, I want to talk about 3 songs from Brat, which I think best represent what the album is about, both thematically and musically. 360, the album's opener and most successful song, is probably the best overall representative of the album in its hedonism and dirt, being an it girl, partying and name dropping. Mean Girls is my favourite song probably, and for my money the most musically interesting on the album. And I Might Say Something Stupid, whilst one of the album's most listened songs, is indicative of a side of Brat that is hardly talked about, but just as important as cigarettes and bumps and strappy tops. And I'm not going to talk about Apple, because despite TikTok's love for it, it's the only song on the album that I don't really like. 360 is the most famous song on Brat, but there's surprisingly little to say about it, so I'll only talk about it briefly. It's very catchy, but that catchiness comes from its simplicity, so there's only so much analysis one can do before just getting to it sounds fun and good. The melody is very rhythmic and simple, mostly sticks on the tonic of C. The kick and bass can be pretty syncopated, so the rhythm is really kept by the driving quavers and semi-quavers of the vocals. We get this synth playing the dominant pedal of G when the pre-chorus starts, and the melody becomes a little more adventurous. I mean, I say a little more adventurous, it's just more than literally one repeated note. So stylish, baby tears are gone, drop down, yeah, looking like an icon. The only difference comes with the mention of the camera flash and the little camera flash sound effect. Drop down, yeah. It's one of the songs on the record that is both lyrically and musically optimistic, reflective of fun and partying at the beginning before any darkness has a chance to kind of creep into the record. Now onto a slightly more interesting song. I Might Say Something Stupid, the album's 4th track. It's one of the least listened on the whole record, and it's a nice moment of quiet reflection on an album that otherwise, musically, is pretty dense, fast, and in your face. It reflects the album's lyrical anxiety that doesn't always penetrate the music. The chords alternate between A minor and F minor, chromatic mediants, which are chords related by a third sharing one common tone. This type of chord change always sounds good, but it sounds particularly good on I Might Say Something Stupid because the voicing used gets the A flat on top of the F minor chord, allowing it to particularly stand out in the mix. And since it's the only non-diatonic note of the progression, it gives the moment its unsettling, jolted feel. This is especially stark because in the context of the whole album, you get 360, Club Classics, and Sympathy is a Knife before this song, all songs that remain entirely diatonic. Something then has jolted the sound of the album for the first time here. Sympathy is a Knife introduces a lyrical anxiety into Brat after the upbeat nature of the first 2 tracks, but I Might Say Something Stupid expands upon that with a musical anxiety compounding it. The first bar of the song's pretty normal, an A minor chord with a high synth in the background playing the root and the 5th. As soon as it moves to F minor, it becomes more unsettling, not only because of the aforementioned chord change, but also because the high synth is playing a B natural, the sharp 11 of the F minor chord. A pretty stark departure from the opening A minor. The same high synth does this again in bar 11, but with an E natural, the major 7th playing over the F minor chord. Door is open, let in, but still outside. The melody throughout the song, like most in the record, is pretty simple, lilting back and forth, pretty much diatonically. I look perfect for the background, I get nervous. One aspect worth mentioning is the auto-tune in the song. The whole record is lathered with auto-tune, it's a huge part of the style, but it's particularly important here. This is a more human moment on the record. A song like Rewind has auto-tune, but that fits the music. Sometimes again, like Sympathy is a Knife, I'm not saying that song isn't riddled with anxiety in its lyrics, but the music is certainly less intimate. It's not a song somebody could sit and sing to you on a piano or a guitar in a quiet room. I Might Say Something Stupid is about feeling out of place at a party and masking that in any way, fashion, wine, or anything else. And the autotune functions as a part of that mask, a part of the facade. It creates a gap between the human voice and the words coming from Charli and the mechanised, cold sound that the listener eventually hears.
I go so cold, I go so cold, 'cause I don't know.
I'm not breaking any new ground mentioning that Brat isn't entirely the not giving a fuck party album that a lot of people are touting it as. I won't do any generation discourse because it's incredibly boring, but Charli XCX is about to turn 32, and it's clearly about that particular point in life. There's an article in the Eye about Brat which is quite good on this, summarising the themes as prospective motherhood, jealousy, insecurity, avoidance and grief. Where songs like Sympathy is a Knife or Rewind exhibit this in their lyrics, I Might Say Something Stupid is the most clear moment of it on the record. Then the article goes on to describe the state of perpetual adolescence faced by much of the millennial generation, which, I don't know, grow up and get over yourselves. But also, I've not been in my 30s, so I don't know. Last but not least, I'll talk about the record's antepenultimate track, Mean Girls. It begins with an incredibly pared down opening verse, simply Charli's voice, a driving bass figure in G sharp, and a clap on 2 and 4.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. and she's out there in a sheer white dress wearing last night's makeup.
Eventually we get a little more with the 4 on the floor type drum beat coming in, building into the chorus, alongside a vocoder sounding thing.
In her mid-20s, real intelligent, hedonistic with the gravel drool and dead eyes.
The song is inspired by the ever-controversial host of the Red Scare podcast, Dasha Nekrasova. Whether you're a weekly listener or think she should be cast into a pit of fire, the song isn't necessarily an endorsement of her particularly, as it is of what she at one point represented. I'm not really interested in that cabal of New York podcasts, so I don't know the details, but it is about a particular archetype of woman, Lana Del Rey, coquettish, thin, New York, inverted commas, Catholic, all things Dasha fits. The chorus starts by paring it down again, replacing the bass and drums with just the vocals and this fantastic synth sound.
Break your boyfriend's heart, girls, for all my terrorist shit apart, girls. This one's for
Before building into something bigger again, bringing back the kick drum and bass, as well as adding a syncopated hi-hat and an acoustic piano.
girls. This one's for all my bad girls.
The piano stands out most clearly in this little riff at the end of the chorus. A second verse continues describing the same kind of quasi-online it girl as the first verse, but probably my favourite musical moment on the record comes after the second verse of Mean Girls and this little piano break. It's not actually playable on piano unless you have hands of a superhuman size. One track plays a constant tonic pedal of G sharp high up every beat throughout, whilst the other two play a little improvised line. The left hand plays the same ascending line as the verse and chorus, but just on the acoustic piano. It's actually slightly different because it plays the second degree of the scale, A sharp as well, but it's basically the same. Whereas the right hand plays around F sharp pentatonic. It's pretty easy to do this because it's basically just playing around on all of the black notes of the piano. So that's a little short look at 3 songs that I particularly like on Brat. The album's been out for almost 2 months at this point, and it doesn't show any real signs of slowing down thanks to its relentless and successful marketing campaign, as well as, actually being really good. I hope you enjoyed this small look into a couple of tracks from the record. I know it's been a while since I uploaded this channel. I've had exams and was travelling around for a bit, but now there should be some more stuff from me soon. I've been working on something about music and architecture now for as long as I can remember, so hopefully I'll knuckle down and get that done soon. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe, and best of all, leave a comment, and hopefully I'll see you next time.